Right now, if you get sick, you have a plan. A pill, a doctor, a hospital a phone call away. But imagine getting sick 50,000 years ago. No medicine, no doctors, no idea what a germ even is. Just you, your pain, and a body that might be quietly killing you. So what happened when an ancient human got sick? Did they simply lie down and die? For a long time, that's exactly what scientists assumed. Then they looked closer at ancient bones and even ancient teeth. And what they found rewrote everything we believed about our ancestors. We imagined prehistoric life as brutal and heartless, the weak left behind, the sick abandoned. Survival of the fittest, right? But the evidence tells a very different story, because buried in caves across the world are the remains of humans who should have died young and alone, yet somehow lived for years, sick, injured, disabled, and still cared for. It turns out our ancestors weren't just fighting to survive, they were learning to heal and to look after each other, tens of thousands of years before the first hospital was ever built. Let's start with the most powerful evidence of all, a Neanderthal known as Shanidar 1. His skeleton was found in a cave in northern Iraq, and his body told a devastating story. He had a crushing blow to the head that likely left him blind in one eye. His right arm was withered and possibly amputated. He had a damaged leg and was probably deaf. By every measure, he was severely disabled. And yet, he lived to around 45 years old. In the Ice Age, that was old. A blind, one-armed, half-deaf man could not have survived that world alone. Which means something extraordinary. His group fed him, protected him, and carried him for years. This is one of the oldest pieces of evidence of human compassion ever found, and he wasn't alone. Another Neanderthal, the old man of La Chapelle, survived with crippling arthritis and almost no teeth. Someone was helping him eat. But it goes further than care. They didn't just comfort the sick, they treated them. In a Spanish cave called El Cedron, scientists analyzed the hardened plaque on a Neanderthal teenager's teeth, plaque nearly 50,000 years old, and the DNA trapped inside revealed he was seriously ill. He had a painful dental abscess and a gut parasite causing diarrhea. But here's the shocking part. His plaque also contained traces of poplar, a tree that naturally contains salicylic acid, the active ingredient in aspirin, and alongside it, penicillium, the mold that gives us penicillin. A sick Neanderthal, dosing himself with a painkiller and an antibiotic, more than 40,000 years before we invented them. Now, scientists are careful here. They can't prove he knew the mold was an antibiotic. But the painkiller. Other Neanderthals at the same site chewed yarrow and chamomile, bitter plants with almost no food value but powerful medicinal properties. They weren't eating those for taste. And then there's surgery. Thousands of years ago, humans began performing one of the oldest operations known, trepanation, drilling a hole straight through a living person's skull, likely to relieve pressure or pain. It sounds like a death sentence, but here's the incredible part. Many of these skulls show healed bone around the hole, which means the patients survived. Ancient humans were performing brain surgery, and their patients lived. The clues are everywhere once you know where to look. Ötzi the Iceman, a 5,000-year-old body found frozen in the Alps, was carrying a medicine kit, including birch fungus, which has natural antibacterial and antiparasitic properties, and fittingly, his gut was infected with whipworm parasites. He wasn't carrying that fungus by accident. Even broken bones tell the story. Countless ancient skeletons show fractures that healed cleanly and straight, which doesn't happen on its own. Someone set the bone, bound it, and cared for the person while it mended. Willow bark, another natural source of aspirin's key compound, shows up again and again in ancient sites. Long before science, humans had quietly built a pharmacy out of the forest around them. So why does this matter to you? Because every time you take a painkiller, visit a doctor, or have someone bring you soup when you're sick, You are repeating something almost unimaginably ancient. The instinct to heal and to care for the suffering isn't modern. It's one of the oldest and most defining things about being human. Our ancestors couldn't name a single germ, but they could feel compassion. They noticed that certain plants eased pain. They refused to abandon their sick. In a world designed to kill the weak, they chose again and again to save them. That choice is written into who we are. So the next time you're sick in bed, remember the blind old Neanderthal who lived because his people wouldn't let him die. Remember the sick boy chewing bitter bark to dull his pain in the dark. They had no medicine as we know it, no science, no doctors, no cure. What they had was each other, and a stubborn refusal to give up on the people they loved. Medicine didn't begin in a laboratory, it began in a cave with one human caring for another. And that, more than any tool or weapon, may be the truest mark of humanity. If this changed how you see our ancestors, subscribe. Every week we bring the forgotten world of ancient humans back to life. And tell me in the comments, would you have survived being sick in the Stone Age? I read every reply.